Hello and welcome to this week's Q&A. This question comes from Karen in Hampshire, and Karen wants to know, does she need a kiln to make fingerprint jewellery, or can she use a blowtorch? So the short answer to this question is no, you don't need a kiln, and yes, you can use a blowtorch. In fact, you can even fire fingerprint jewellery and other types of silver clay jewellery on a gas hob using a metal firing gauze, but I wouldn't recommend it, and here's why. Blowtorch firing and gas hob firing is perfectly fine if you're just making the jewellery for yourself as a hobby. But if you're intending to set up a professional business making high quality keepsake jewellery, I'd absolutely recommend that you do invest in a kiln. There are a number of reasons for this. First off, blowtorch firing takes practice and experience, and until you're used to using a blowtorch, it can be difficult to know if you've got your flame to the correct temperature for sintering to occur. If you're not experienced using a blowtorch, it can be very easy to melt your piece or even to underfire it. This means that your silver charm may take on the appearance of being silver on the exterior, but actually the silver may not have sintered, which means that your charm still consists of fragile clay body beneath a silver surface. There are a number of checks that you can put into place to check that the silver has sintered, including measuring the shrinkage rate. But this method isn't foolproof, and for the inexperienced there's a large margin for error. Equally, I've heard a lot of stories from people that have taken the heat of their flame too high and melted their silver charms. In fact, I've spoken to many people who have wasted more time and money melting silver than it would have cost them to buy a kiln in the first place. The other issue with manual firing is that you can only fire one piece at a time. So if you're planning to run a busy jewellery business, this won't be time or cost effective for you. Also, you'll be restricted to the size of the piece that you can manually fire, meaning that you can't fire anything bigger than a 2p piece. Manual firing is also very inconsistent, and if you don't apply the heat evenly or consistently enough, you can end up with warped or distorted charms. So my recommendation then would be to always kiln fire your silver clay jewellery because it's virtually foolproof. Whether or not you decide to come to my studio or to study with me online, I will cover all of the correct processes for making and firing your fingerprint jewellery. Plus you'll get access to my online help desk, so I'll be there to help you along the way. And if you're a member of the Keepsake Guild, you'll get continued access to your e-courses and continued support for the lifetime of your membership. When you're considering whether or not to buy a kiln, think very carefully about what will be your return on investment. In fact, the cost of jewellery kilns are very affordable, and you'll only need to sell about 7 or 8 pieces of jewellery to get your money back on your kiln. That's a pretty quick return on investment, and another reason why I'd always recommend that you do invest in a kiln. You can find out more about starting your own fingerprint jewellery business by clicking here to download my free guide. And if you'd like to get weekly tips and advice on how to start and develop your own creative home business, please subscribe now to my YouTube channel. If you've got any questions that you would like to ask me about starting your own business, please put your questions in the comments below and I'll do my very best to answer them in a future video.